Hello everyone, I'm Marlene Alphonse, and today we are going to be going over a case study that is the Disney versus FTC YouTube settlement. Essentially, we are breaking down a landmark regulatory action that redefines the duty of care for digital content creators in the 2025 Disney versus FTC COPPA settlement. First of all, let's understand what COPPA is. Okay. COPPA is the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act in the US federal law designed to put parents in control over what information is collected from their children online. It applies to operators of commercial websites and online services, including mobile apps and IoT devices, that are directed to children under 13 years of age. As of 2026, the law has become even more rigorous due to recent amendments and a heightened enforcement focus by the FTC. COPPA has core requirements. A company must follow these specific steps if they target children or have actual knowledge that they are controlling data from them. For example, post a clear privacy policy. It must describe how they handled this personal information. Direct notice to parents. Before collecting any data, they must notify parents directly. Verifiable parent consent, or VPC. They must make a reasonable effort to ensure a parent has actually consented via a signed form, a phone call, or a small credit card transaction. Data minimization. Companies can only collect the information reasonably necessary for a child to participate in an activity. Security and retention. They must maintain the confidentiality of the data and delete it once it is no longer needed. The major 2025 and 2026 updates are an expanded definition of personal information. It now explicitly includes biometric identifiers such as fingerprints, retina patterns, DNA, and even gait or facial templates. It also covers government-issued identifiers like state IDs. Stricter retention rules. The companies are now prohibited from keeping children's data indefinitely. They must have a written data retention policy that justifies how long they keep every piece of information. The age verification policy, where the FTC recently issued a policy statement to incentivize age verification technology. They signaled relaxed enforcement for companies that collect data only to verify age and then immediately delete it, helping businesses avoid a catch-22 of needing to collect data just to approve someone is an adult. Targeting content creators. As seen in the $10 million Disney settlement, well, we're about to get through that, the FTC is no longer just going after platforms like YouTube. They are holding the companies that make the content accountable for how they label their videos and configure their metadata. The cost of non-compliance. In 2026, the civil penalty for a single violation can exceed $50,000. For a company like Disney or TikTok, where millions of users are involved, these fines quickly scale into tens of millions of dollars. As you can see, this case is about how a multi-billion-dollar corporation allowed a technical default setting to create a massive legal liability. And this is an example of how cybersecurity is not just about sophisticated hacking or data breaches. By the end of this video, you will understand how metadata functions as a legal document, the impact of the actual knowledge doctrine, and why the FTC is now using settlements to force the entire industry towards biometric age assurance technology. We will be doing this by going over three main concepts: the technical handshake failure, the legal significance, and the long-term implications. Concept number one, the metadata handshake. In the context of COPPA, metadata labels, specifically made for kids or MFK and not made for kids NMFK, these tags are instructions that dictate whether a platform can legally trigger tracking pixels or persistent identifiers. How does it work? When a creator uploads a video, the API requires an audience designation. If marked MFK, the data collection is restricted. If marked NMFK, behavioral tracking for targeted ads is enabled by default. Where did Disney fail? Disney implemented a channel level default because major channels like Disney Plus were marked NMFK to accommodate adult-centric content like Marvel. Every child-directed clip uploaded to that channel automatically inherited the adult tag, triggering illegal data collections on minors. Concept number 2, the actual knowledge doctrine. Under COPPA, liability often hinges on whether an entity has actual knowledge that they are collecting data from children. So how did this work? Once a company is formally notified that a discrepancy between their labels and their content, that there's a discrepancy between their labels and their content, the legal shield of administrative error disappears. In June 2020, YouTube's automated systems flagged the overrode 300 plus Disney videos, reclassifying them as made for kids. The legal relevance here is that the notification served as a smoking gun because Disney's legal team and tech teams failed to revise their channel level policy after this warning. Their continued use of defaults shifted from oversight to gross negligence in the eyes of the FTC. Liability in the cloud era is shared between the platform, YouTube, Google, and the creator, in this case Disney. And while YouTube provides the tools for the tracking, Disney provides the metadata that authorizes it. This settlement marks a departure from the 2019 Google YouTube settlement. The FTC is now targeting the users of the platform's API, signaling that creators can no longer hide behind the platform's automated settings. The final order, there was a penalty for $10 million, and this was a civil penalty, and there was also a 10-year injunction. Disney is now legally mandated to perform a video by video manual review for 1,250 plus channels, and this highlights a critical lesson for cyber professionals. Scalability is not an excuse for non-compliance. The settlement includes a specific get-out clause. Disney is only released from manual reviews if YouTube implements universal age assurance technology. This aligns with the February 2026 FTC policy statement, proving the government is using litigation to incentivize biometric adoption. The main standards and sources here were the NIST framework. This case underscores the governed function of the NIST Cybersecurity Framework 2.0, emphasizing that policy must dictate technical configuration. And the legal precedent, this aligns with the COPPA versus Disney, where class action plaintiffs argued that persistent identifiers like IP addresses constitute a violation of privacy even without a traditional breach. And of course, the official citation referencing to the FTC versus Disney order for permanent injunction in December 2025 and the 2025 COPPA amendments. Why does this happen? It's typically because large organizations often prioritize operational ease over granular compliance. Disney opted for a macro approach to save resources, but in a regulated digital environment, a default setting is a legal claim, in this case at least. And the takeaway for any cyber and legal professional is that cybersecurity isn't just about stopping the hackers. It's about governance and accountability as well. If your technical handshake with a platform's API doesn't match your legal duty of care to the users, you aren't just facing a technical bug, you are facing a $1 million regulatory disaster. Metadata governance is now a core pillar of a company's digital footprint. This analysis of Disney's settlement prepares us to understand the next big shift in cyber law, the transition from informed consent to active verification. And this is just one of the many case studies we will be going over on my channel. So if you're interested in this one, check out my other ones, which will probably be here or here. Anyway, it was nice doing the research of the Disney versus FTC with you, and see you in my next one. Bye.